Aloha, what's up everybody? I'm JayDreamerZ. Welcome to a special episode today. I have made this video a couple of times, but I felt like it was time for a refresher. So if you're watching live, welcome everybody. If you're watching in the future, this video is going to be put into my Plasma Apocalypse 101 playlist because I feel like this is a basic need to know. When you first start things off, when we start researching the plasma apocalypse or any apocalyptic scenario, it's very scary, right? New information, changes in our world, changes in our life tend to scare us. And I've had quite a few comments of people who are like, oh my God, this is terrifying. This is scary. There's nothing there's nothing I can do about this. I feel helpless. I don't want to talk to people about it because I don't want to scare them or, you know what I mean? Stuff like that. So what I'd like to do is to help to put some of your minds at ease. That's what I want to do. I'm an Apocaloptimist. I'm optimistic about the apocalypse. And it didn't start that way, right? I started off with a lot of fear and being scared and stuff like that. But in this video, I'm going to go over a list of all of the beautiful, wonderful, amazing, healthy, awesome things that we can look forward to, or at least that I look forward to, with the arrival and the coming of the apocalypse, even going into the post-apocalyptic world. I do have the chat pulled up for everybody who's here live. Welcome. Good to see so many people showing up. Thanks a lot for all your likes and stuff like that. I super appreciate you all. All right, sweet. So check this out. I've got my chat pulled up here. If you'd like to join in the conversation, feel free. It's good. I'm just seeing how many people are here. It's awesome. All right. Let me get my notes pulled up here and we're going to start things off right away. Okay, sweet. I got my notes pulled up. Boom. Okay, sweet. So what I'm about to do is I'm just going to go off on a list. And if you have any questions or anything like that as we go along, you know what I mean? Or, you'd like to know something that would help you out to make you feel better about going into an age where it seems likely that the apocalypse is right around the corner. Anything that would help you to prepare or to get ready or to just feel better, like a sigh of relief. If you have any questions along the way, feel free to let me know. I'm going to jump right in. Here's the good news about the apocalypse. Number one, we may learn the signs and read the omens before the apocalypse, right? While I don't personally claim to know the exact date of when it's going to happen, I have been studying many different things that give me indicators as to the general times that these things occur on, right? So in order for us to get ready and to not be caught off guard and surprised by this event, we may learn the signs. We may read the omens, looking for harbingers of things that are to come. There will be increased electrical phenomenon in the sky. You'll see that in the form of, some people see lights in the sky. They think that they're UFOs all the time, or increased electrical discharges in the form of lightning, huge storms, and strange plasma phenomenon up in our atmosphere, including like the auroras and stuff like that. So we'll see an increase in that. There'll be an increase in brightness of the luminaries. So we can look at our own sky and just kind of use it as a clock to gauge about how close it is for these things to happen, right? One of the things that we can gauge is keeping track of the brightness of things like the moon and the sun and the stars, etc. The shortening of the days. The days become shorter during one of these apocalyptic cycles. During the opposite one, I believe that they actually become longer. But the one that we're heading into, I feel so far, that it's going to be the summertime or the summer solstice time frame apocalypse, right? I don't know what year or anything like that, but I feel like that's the time frame of the upcoming apocalyptic event. So we've got the shortening of days. So if you feel like the days are going by shorter or the years are going by shorter and it's just going super quick, that's a sign. That's an omen. That's good news. That means that you are not going to be caught off guard because you can see, hey, wow, things are starting to change. Things are starting to happen. And it will be a natural thing for you to expect whenever the apocalypse does come instead of being caught off guard by it. There will be a morality flux in the people of our civilization, of our world, in humanity. Morality always goes into flux right before the apocalypse, right? Morals seem to go out the window. Everybody is right in their own eyes. Anybody who holds on to the old ways and has a sense of purity and honesty and good vibes and stuff like that, they tend to be persecuted during this time or looked down upon. So while that's not fun to go through, to be persecuted and stuff like that, it's sort of a badge of honor. And it says to us that we're on the right path, right? Going into the apocalypse, it's important for people like myself to be on the right path instead of to be on the wrong one. So the shortening of days, morality flux, severe weather will increase across the world, tracking the movement of the magnetic pole, right? As it's clearly shifting and it's clearly moving across our world at an increased rate of speed, as well as the alleged core of the earth. However you see that, academics has just come out with saying that they believe that the superionized core of the earth has stopped and it's getting ready to reverse and go in the other direction, or that it's in the process, which tells us that whatever happens in the heart of the earth will happen to the earth itself, right? So we can be prepared mentally knowing that these things are on the way. Increasing anomalies in the animal kingdom, right? So we can look at our friends, the animals, we can see how they're acting as well as ourselves, right? For example, the animals that are all walking around in circles and stuff like that, insects and people swarming together because they're agitated by the increased energy levels in our world. And the next one we're going to go through. So that first one was just knowing the signs. It makes you feel good when you can expect what's on the way, right? Instead of being caught off guard by it. Pardon me. The next one is we may prepare ourselves physically, mentally, and spiritually, or energetically, if you will. We can be prepared for certain elements of the apocalypse. The more we study, the more that we immerse ourselves and become used to these concepts and these ideas from a time long forgotten, the more we can be prepared for them. The more prepared we are and the more we learn about them, the more that light shines into our minds and eradicates the darkness, which expels fear from us. Hey, Gaia Hypothesis, it's good to see you. Thanks for your support. Super appreciate you guys. We got Morongo Steve, thank you. Super appreciate you. Gary Feltham and Sage, good to see everybody. All right, cool. I'm going to jump back in the presentation here. All right, so we talked about the signs and the omens. We talked about preparing ourselves physically, right? You can start getting into shape. If you know that the world's going to depressurize, right, you can start working on your cardio. You can start doing breathing exercises and stuff like that so you don't feel like you're so short of breath whenever the air is being sucked up into the sky and there's super high winds. So you can prepare yourself physically. You can get into a little bit better shape. You still have some time. Mentally is just becoming aware. Just exposing yourself to these concepts and these ideas helps you mentally to prepare for these things, right? And then, of course, spiritually or energetically, there's time to change. There's time to be better, to be the person that we've always wanted to be, because what we're doing is we're starting at home. We're cleaning up our house, knowing that we're going to take ourselves, our tribe, and our families and everything that we own into the age to come, into another world. And me personally, I want to bring the best into that world, right? I want to bring purity and honesty and wholesomeness and good values into the world to come. I don't want to bring my poison from the old ways. You know what I mean? I want the new. I want to contribute to the world to come. So that's another thing that we can look forward to, is changing the world, right? If you are one of the survivors into the apocalypse, now you're one of the forefathers of times of old. You're one of the patriarchs or matriarchs. You're somebody whose stories will be written about. You know what I mean? It'll be your adventures that people will learn and write down, and people thousands of years into the future will study about and wonder about and write books on and stuff, right? So we can prepare ourselves. The system that we all live in that enslaves us, right? We all live in a system, a worldwide system that's broken down into little smaller systems and stuff like that. The system will be shut down. There won't be a system anymore. Not a humanity system, not a human system. Slavery will be gone, basically. All slaves will be set free. This is known as the time of Jubilee or jubilation, right? It's the time when the apocalypse comes and everybody is on an even playing field. There are no governors, there are no presidents, there are no kings or queens or mayors or anything like that. There's nobody telling you how to live your life. You can truly breathe a sigh of relief because you can do anything you want to do. You can do things you've always wanted to do. You will truly be set free. No job, no taxes, just freedom. The freedom to move about. No boundaries, no borders. You can be an explorer. You can be anything you want to be. You can do anything you want to do. Next up is a world filled with energy means free energy for everybody, right? Free energy that it's tapped from the ground itself and from the ether or the atmosphere above us, right? Free energy. You don't have to pay for electricity. There's no electric bills. Matter of fact, there's no bills of any kind anymore. You don't have to pay for gas. You don't have to pay for electricity. You don't have to pay for food. You don't have to pay for anything. Right? It's all free. You can get energy from the earth itself, which I believe a lot of you are starting to realize as you're researching ancient architectural styles from other ages, right? And how they seem to develop their architecture in a way that worked with the levels of electricity that were naturally present in our atmosphere at those times. So a world filled with energy means free energy for all. Also, plasma will come into our earth and sterilize it, eradicating disease. Mainstream academics has just recently started tapping into the potential of plasma and how it can be used in order to sterilize things, in order to clean things out, right? In order to rid, petri dishes and stuff like that of bacteria and whatnot. So the plasma comes in, it literally sterilizes the world. It cleans it all out. Also, all of these different interactions, right? All of these different earth changes contribute to a refreshing of all of those chemicals and gases and things that contribute to our good health and our good living. So the world will be refreshed on many levels. Let's see. I got USMC Mike in the chat and says, the problem is most people want to be ruled nowadays. No one wants to hunt for food, blah, blah, blah. That's not a problem, Mike. You see, most of those people are going to be gone. I'm talking to the survivors. Most of those people who depend on the system and stuff like that, this is good news. It's not a problem whatsoever. You get to wave goodbye as they're all getting sucked up into the air and eaten by Kronos or however it is that they go, right? And don't get me wrong, there's a time for mourning. There's a time to mourn for those people. There's a time to be sad, but also a time to stop mourning and a time to stop being sad for those people. They have their time right now. They're basking in their glory right now. We wait for our chance. We wait for our time. So I think it's good news. We also got Pavlov's Sheep who says, JayDreamerZ, metal could be dangerous in an energy charged environment. It could be dangerous. It depends on how you use the metal, right? You can use metal so that it benefits you in an electrically charged environment. Stone technology may need to be developed to use the energy. I see what you're saying. And I think that's a good idea. And I totally support you. I believe that people will still be able to use metal. I'm not one of those people that thinks that any tiny little bit of metal is just going to electrically zap somebody or electrocute them or kill them, right? But you do make a really good point, right? We should definitely be cautious and careful. All right. Now, next up, we've got, let's see, plasma sterilizes the earth. Electromagnetic stimulation of cells in our bodies leads to regeneration. Longer lifespans, restored youth, and faster healing, right? So you get basically Wolverine's super healing ability powers, right? Maybe even regeneration of limbs and stuff. I don't know to what extent quite yet. But that's something to look forward to, right? Restored health, restored vigor, restored vitality in life, etc. Let's see. Increased buoyancy and reduced pressure allow for gigantic growth of flora and fauna, which means that, for me, that's kind of cool just to think that giants will be back in our world, that some of our children may grow or their children may grow to be gigantic in size, which could be helpful and useful in various situations. So I think that that's kind of something cool to look forward to. Let's see, what else we got? Let's see, we've got increased buoyancy and reduced pressure reduces density and the weight of objects, while survivors retain our muscle strength from the last age, giving survivors super strength and speed in comparison to those who are born into those new conditions. So in short, that means that if you survive, you essentially become a superhero. Now, the hero part is how you use your superpowers. You could also become a supervillain. You know, it all depends on you. Let me jump back in the chat real quick. Let's see. We got Alien Guru. What's up, Alien Guru? Says, JayDreamerZ, what do you think about the map outside of the ice walls? That's a different topic, so I'm going to skip that just for now. Red Rose says, JayDreamerZ, what about those with the hybrid immunity? I have no idea what you're talking about, and I don't talk about that subject on my channel. Sorry. I'm not allowed to. I could lose my job. I mean, you guys know that, right? Come on. All right. Anyways, let's see. Not only that, but we're talking about like the good news and stuff. Okay, so I'm going to go back over here and shift gears back to my notes. All right, so super strength, super speed in comparison to those who are born into the new conditions. The next one is that the world's oceans will be gone for the most part, allowing for settlement of much more and new lands, revealing whatever treasures lay at the bottom of the ocean. So there's actually treasure that we inherit. You know, whatever stuff has sank down to the bottoms of the ocean and stuff, you can go check it out, go explore it, go treasure hunting or something, which I think is pretty fun too. We've got the electric charge of the earth becomes positive, leading to a golden age. So our world fills with positive energy, right? All of that inner earth energy, that good nature energy fills the world because it's trapped in here as it comes up and out of the earth. It just fills up because the electromagnetic dome or barrier around our world, also known as the magnetosphere in modern academics, keeps that plasma, keeps that energy inside of our world as it comes up from inside of it, right? Right now it's not doing that. Right now it's all being charged. Right now it's going inward. After this flip, it's going to come outward, and all that inner earth energy fills our world with vitality and a lot of positive attributes. So that's what helps us to get back to a golden age of prosperity and peace. Let's see, we got, it becomes possible to speak with alien visitors and creatures to learn from them and them from us, right? Now I'm going to focus on the positive attributes. Obviously, we could learn bad things and they could learn bad things, etc. But we could also learn good things, right? We could put our minds together and we can learn more from them about what it's like outside of our world and so much more, right? Technology and some other things too. And they can learn from us in turn. So I look forward to those types of situations. Not so much war between aliens and humans and gods and all that stuff, but uniting and being helpful to one another, which I believe things started off as, but then it just grows into something else. So I do like that concept there. Earth pilgrims. That's many of you who don't feel at home here, right? You want to leave. You want to get out of here. For the Earth pilgrims, you may now leave if you choose, either up or down. Up through the sky, right? When the world depressurizes and there's an increased buoyancy factor. I mean, if you want to leave alive, I recommend, researching how to protect yourself from the various elements and stuff that'll be floating around up there, electricity, etc. But it's very possible. And I feel like organizations such as NASA and SpaceX and all those, different organizations, that's what they're doing. I feel like they're preparing to leave. They're getting ready to get out of here when the time comes, getting their vessels ready for taking off, basically. And you can too. You can also, I personally believe that even those who die during the apocalypse, if their souls are sucked out with the Aurora Borealis and whatnot, that you also leave. You just leave in soul form, which means you'll have to be incorporated wherever you end up, wherever you land. You'll have to be reincarnated into whatever forms they have in your new world. All right, let me jump back in the chat. A lot of people are trying to get my attention. Let's see. Sage says, so the dome comes down? Partially. I think a lot of the dome is going to remain intact. But some of it breaks, right? Some of it breaks. All right. Gaia Hypothesis says, if the oceans are gone, we wouldn't really expect weather the same with rainstorms and such. Yeah, the weather's totally going to change. We're not going to have like rainstorms and stuff like that. Actually, that's one of my next points here was about the seasons. we're not going to have seasons any longer. So there's not going to be a winter or anything like that and transitioning and wobbling back and forth from warm to hot. It'll just be a mild, tropical, temperate, beautiful weather. I mean, if you like that kind of weather, some people like cold weather and stuff too. Let's see. We got Jedi in the chat who says, how do we share this with others? It can really swirl people up if told well. Well, I'm not telling you to share it with others. I definitely feel like some people, this is not for them. You know what I mean? I don't try to like shove my research onto others and force them to listen to me or whatever. But if you want to, do what I always say is build a bridge, right? Figure out what land they are on, figure out their surroundings and what they're familiar with, and build a bridge to that. Use things that they're already familiar with and make a connection to new concepts. I feel like that's one of my favorite ways to share information. And Zobrier says, JayDreamerZ, aloha. Jay, I'm really glad that you're doing this presentation. I believe that the evilness in the modern era will be washed away and that there's nothing to fear for us. Good. Excellent. That's the whole point. I love it. Yeah, nothing really to be afraid of. It's a process of learning, experience, action, preparation. People are still raving about fighting the spider. Oh, yeah. Whenever I was fighting the spider. All right, sweet. That was super funny. All right, I'm going to jump back into my notes here. Let's see. The oceans will be gone. Electric charge will be positive, leading to a golden age. It will be possible to talk with alien visitors, etc. You can leave if you'd like to leave during this time. And the seasons will disappear. That was actually the next one. The climate becomes tropical. So that's awesome. So you don't have a need for all this clothing and stuff like that. It's less practical, right? If you wear clothing, it's not super practical. Which I'm going to talk about some interesting types and styles of clothing that I believe people have worn in the post-apocalyptic world during our next presentation of Truth in Movies when we break down A Cabin in the Woods. So it's going to be a fun one. It's going to be filled with lots of information. Be sure to check that one out. It's maybe we might do that tomorrow night if you're watching live. All right, so let's see what else we got here. We got no need for sleep for a third of your day, a third of your life, just whoosh, in dreamland. You know what I mean? I mean, if it's all a dream anyway, what's the need for all this extra sleep? The reason that we go to sleep is to recharge our bodies because you're weak. I'm weak. We're all very weak. Energy is being sapped as the world pulls it into itself, draws it in to charge it, right? Which means we become less energetic. Our energy is depleted in the time that we live in now. That's one reason why we don't live as long. That's one reason why we sleep for a third of the day. Right? So in this age to come, you will be so charged with energy, there will be no need for energy drinks, Red Bulls, or any of these substances that we use in order to give ourselves a jolt, to wake us up, to be more enlivened, to shock ourselves, to wake ourselves up, right? Which usually have the side effect of a huge crash. You know what I mean? You don't need that. You probably, if I'm guessing correctly, you probably won't even be able to sleep. Like you won't need it at all. So the body will fight, your urge to want to do what you used to do and go to sleep. And if that happens to you, it's fine. Okay. Don't be scared because, you've seen that if people don't get all their sleep, they go nuts and psychotic or whatever, which is true in the modern age because you need sleep. But in the age to come, when you don't, if you don't sleep, for a while, I don't know. I've read a lot of stories and myths and legends specifically about the elven race who are said to be immortal, where they just took they just meditated for sleep. Instead of taking a long sleep or whatever, they just meditated for a while, or maybe took cat naps or a 20-minute nap or something like that. Not much sleep will be needed. Let's see. Restored vigor, vitality, and energy, kind of like I've already touched on, right? If you feel like you're drained, if you're depressed, if you have anxiety and you feel like you're being dragged down, or you feel like there's not a lot of point to living, or if you can't focus on anything, all of these signs and symptoms, I believe, are a byproduct of our energy depletion in the world today. When that energy is filled and restored, right, then we become more filled with energy. We become more excited. We smile more. We become more happier and more active, right? The way is opened to Hyperborea. Goes by many names: Garden of Eden, Hyperborea, the land at the North Pole, etc., and so on and so forth. The way will be opened, I believe, according to my research. Not only that, but if the oceans are removed, you could just walk there, right? Which is also kind of cool. What else we got here? Amanda S. is in the chat and says, JayDreamerZ is such a blessing for us. Oh, thank you, Amanda. I appreciate it. Thank you. All right, back to my notes over here. We're talking about the good news. What's the good news of the apocalypse, right? This is stuff that we should be looking forward to instead of focusing on all the scary negativity. Man, that's holding on to this world. This world's, I'm going to share, I'm just going to be me for a moment. This world sucks at the moment. It's got good stuff, but in general, it kind of sucks. It's not the funnest place, right? It's an honor to be here. I'm glad that I'm here during this time, but I look forward to rest. I know many of you need some rest, right? And I don't mean going to sleep like we just talked about. I mean rest for your soul. I mean some vindication, right? For being a good person, and the rest of the world falling apart at the seams. I'd like to see paradise restored. So I look forward to that. All right. We got much less needs to be consumed, if anything at all. Right? That's another thing, just like sleep. The whole reason why we eat and we just stuff our faces and swallow, and it goes down into the body and it is pulled apart and stuff like that. And then we go to the bathroom and all that stuff. Doesn't it feel weird? That feels weird to me. Like, you know what I mean? Just even going to the bathroom is kind of a strange concept. But I feel like in the age to come, Angel Lovebud, good to see you. Good to see you. She says, so excited. In the age to come, it very well may be that if you don't need sleep because you're so energetically charged, why should you need to eat? Why should you need to go and hunt and kill your brothers and sister animals or human beings? Because I'm sure cannibalism will be something that a small portion of people resort to, right? It's just because it's the apocalypse or judgment day or whatever does not mean that all evil is eradicated. Much evil is eradicated and much positivity is replacing it, right? But there is still a remnant. Right now, we are the remnant. The good guys are the remnant. We are the few and far between. In the world to come, evil will be the remnant. It will be the few and far between, right? It's also good news. Let's see. We got... Knowledge is imparted to many through inner earth energy, amplified in deep, cavernous earth passages. So there's many different references to this. One of my favorite ones is in 1 Corinthians chapter 13 in the New Testament, where it talks about the Bible's definition of love. And a part of that is it talks about how right now in the modern world, we see things as if we're looking in a mirror in a dark room. We can barely make out shadows of things and silhouettes and outlines. But when the world is filled with energy and you're charged and you're telepathically connected and stuff, all of a sudden realizations just start to dawn upon people. And I feel like a portion of humanity who have that remnant of that good energy or that blue beam energy, I feel like our energy is being charged right now, leading up to this event. That's why there's an awakening that's happening or whatever, right? Well, imagine when it's just not an awakening and it's just awake. You know what I mean? All right. Next up, we've got, there will be peace and quiet, right? The world's loud right now. I did a video about people's ears ringing and stuff and the noise that's in the atmosphere. Even in this movie that I watched recently called White Noise on Netflix, throughout the entire movie, they just had so much overlapping sounds and people talking over each other and all of this background noise that I started to actually hear that ringing sound much louder in my own head. I can hear it right now if I stop talking for a second, right? But that ringing sound, I believe, will go away. And I believe that all the noise that is in our air, in our atmosphere, running through our houses and underground and all over the place in the form of various types of waves, radio waves, microwaves, cell phone towers, television, satellite dishes, all that stuff, right? It's noise, it's energy, it's sound. You might not be able to specifically hear it or tune into it, but it is there. And whenever you stack it and stack it and stack it and add sound and frequency upon sound and frequency, it equates to noise. So in the world to come, those things are done away with, and it will truly be peaceful. It will truly be a quiet place. which for some of us is awesome. All right, let's see. Next up, we've got a return to tribal ways and family values, seeing the value of other humans as they become a rarity, right? Many of you who live in populated areas don't even know your neighbors, don't know their names. Some people don't even want to talk to their neighbors, and I can't blame you because the world's crazy and people are all crazy, right? But we take people for granted. There's so many people, they're all over the place, right? That we run into them, we see them everywhere we go all of the time. Imagine if that was taken away and human beings become a rarity. They become something that you don't see every day. So when you encounter another human, right, especially one that you resonate with, who's got a good energy and a good vibe, then it's valuable. It's a valuable experience. You appreciate them and just their being instead of taking them for granted, right? Which I think is awesome too. Because it's nice. It's nice to be appreciated, right? Last but not least, there's many more too. If you guys have extras, things to look forward to, let me know. I just wanted to share a handful of things just to give you some hope and a smile, maybe, some form of happiness when thinking about the end of things. It's the end of bad things. You know what I mean? It's the start of good things. It's a refreshing, right? All right. There's always survivors, right? That's what I'm gonna end my list on, is that there's always survivors, right? It's not that it's impossible. Some people will hear all these different events, especially the ones that I talk about, right? Zombies and phantazoids and otherworldly creatures and monsters and giants and titans and all the bad crazy things, right? Evil wizards or sorceresses, I don't know. All the bad stuff. People hear it. It can be overwhelming. And some people are like, there's no way I'm going to survive. You know what I mean? I think there is a way. I think that many people do survive. Sometimes it might be just out of pure chance or dependent upon the luck of the draw where you are. Others have a good energy, which helps them out and increases their odds. Others are preparing, which helps them out and increases their odds. Always increase your odds. You know what I mean? Increase your odds by everything that you do, every moment. Change your thought patterns, change your frequencies, right? Increase your odds. Whenever the plasma comes down and it can see into the spirit world and it can read people's chakras and auras and it's looking for negativity, right? Because like attracts like, it's looking for negativity or whatever. Be a good person. Change your mind. Be transformed by the renewing of your mind. That's straight from the Bible. All right, sweet. So yes, there are survivors. You can survive. I believe people will survive. I believe much more people will not, but we're not talking about them. We're talking about us. We're talking about the ones that have the will and the drive to take what is good into the next world so that we can be contributing members. You know what I mean? So that we can help to make the world what we've always wanted to see it become. Boom, there's your chance. All right, sweet. That was sort of a short presentation, so I'm going to jump in the chat and just kind of check out the comments, see what you guys have to do or have to say about being an Apocaloptimist. Deborah Clark says good news is great. Yes, seriously, right? I like to balance it out, and I do try to balance out, all the crazy, scary information with the good news, with the good side of things in many of my presentations. And it's natural, I feel, for many newcomers to just kind of hone in and focus on all the scary stuff and forget that I even talked about the good side of it, right? But there's lots to the good news and the good side of the plasma apocalypse, and especially to those of you who survive. Daryl Calhoun's in the chat and says hi. Hi, Daryl. Hi. All right, let's see what else. Looks like some people are just now joining, so I'm going to go over the comments and see if I have any comments here that I can respond to before we wrap things up. Mars Pop says, thanks for introducing me to Huitzilopochtli. You're super welcome. He's actually going to come up in our presentation again tomorrow when we talk about human sacrifice in a cabin in the woods. All right, sweet. I don't think I see anything else here. So I'm going to make this a short video, short and sweet. There is good news, right? The sweet isn't as sweet without the sour. So take the sour so that you can enjoy the sweet that much more. All right, sweet. I hope you had a good time. Until next time, I'm JayDreamerZ saying good vibes and goodbye.
So hard to fade away. I try so hard to fade away, but something's forcing me to stay. It'd be easier for me if I turn away to flee. Oh, but there's something moving on in the way of being long gone. There's so many ways to escape, but I guess it's time to wake up, time to wake up. Far too many ways to escape, but I guess it's time to wake up, time to wake up. Time to wake up, time to wake up, baby. Time to wake up, time to wake up. Time to wake up, time to wake up, baby. Time to wake up, time to wake up. I know I should have done this, should have quit this long ago. Can't stand another heartbreak, but it's time to let it go. It'd be easier for me if I turn away to flee. Oh, but there's something holding on in the way of being long gone. There's so many ways to escape, but I guess it's time to wake up, time to wake up. Far too many ways to escape, but I guess it's time to wake up, time to wake up. Time to wake up, time to wake up, baby. Time to wake up, time to wake up. Time to wake up, time to wake up, baby. Time to wake up, time to wake There's so many ways to escape, but I guess it's time to wake up, time to wake up. Far too many ways to escape, but I guess it's time to wake up, time to wake up. Time to wake up, time to wake up, baby. Time to wake up, time to wake up. Time to wake up, time to wake up, baby. Time to wake up, time to wake up.
You in this vast multiverse.